started with, there was an article that was printed last week, and so as a result of that, people wanted to come together and show solidarity against any of that sort of behaviour taking place.
Well, this morning, about 1,500 Google employees worldwide plan to walk out of work to protest the company's handling of sexual misconduct claims. The New York Times investigation last week showed how Google paid millions of dollars in exit packages to Andy Rubin and other male executives accused of misconduct. The Times says Rubin, who created the Android mobile software, was paid $90 million. Rubin's publicist said in a statement, quote, "Mr. Rubin left Google on his own accord in 2014. He did not engage nor has ever been told of any misconduct at Google or anywhere else." New York Times reporter Kate Benner was a co-author of this story and joins us at the table now. Kate, great to have you. We've been talking about this story all week. I'm curious because Google's official code of conduct on their website ends with "Don't be evil, and if you see something that you think isn't right, speak up." How does that play into this decision for the walkout today?
Sure. I think that a lot of people come to Google because they are really idealistic and they do believe in this idea of the company standing for something larger than just making money. And so to see this sort of behavior and to see it condoned at the very highest levels of the company, I think has been extraordinarily upsetting for employees. And if you look at the $90 million payout to a single employee who was credibly found to have sexually assaulted somebody, I think that's galling for people.
This walkout is already underway all over the world, in Germany and in Asia, and there are specific demands, right, that they want.
Correct.
What are they?
That's correct. So the employees are saying it's enough is enough. They want more transparency. They want the end to forced arbitration, especially in cases of sexual harassment. So right now the company does force employees to be in arbitration, which is a very private process. They want an annual accountability report, transparency around harassment, because they're looking at the fact that many executives have been fired for sexual harassment and misconduct, and they had no idea. So they would like that as well. They also want a global, uniform way to safely report sexual harassment, because that currently doesn't exist.
And the company doesn't have that now?
No.
Well, Google executives certainly have some explaining to do. This is embarrassing, this is painful, and clearly mistakes were made. What can you tell us about how Google executives are handling this? It doesn't seem like they're running for the hills on this.
No, so it's really interesting. The CEO Sundar, he has been extraordinary. Sundar Pichai, he responded very strongly after the story came out. Google did not push back on us in many ways on the story. We always do. We run all reports by the companies and give them fair warning. And in fact, his statement afterwards said we need to make a clean break with the past.
Didn't he say he supported people speaking out?
And he supported the walkout today. What's important about that is by supporting the walkout, by coming out and making those statements, he's also drawn a line in the sand that the employees can look at and hold them accountable to, rather than not speaking at all.
Does Google have a women problem? I mean, 30% of their workforce is comprised of women. Their CFO, Ruth Porat, is obviously a woman as well. Do they have internal issues regarding diversity?
Well, I think that a lot of the employees would say that they do. And even though they do have women in high-level executive positions, I don't think that having a woman in a high-level executive position means that you don't have a problem with gender discrimination.
Can we go back to the Andy Rubin issue, because it's obviously the one everybody pays so much attention to. How can his publicist say that he had never been told of any misconduct? Is there some words that are being monkeyed with here, or what?
I'm not an attorney and I'm not Andy Rubin's attorney. I can just say that we give everybody a chance for fair comment and they're allowed to say what they like. We stand by our reporting. My colleague Dai Wakabayashi, who is an extraordinary reporter, was able to find documentation and other bits of reporting that we feel is very strong.
Do employees have confidence in the leadership, do you think?
Well, I think that's to be seen, because there's the walkout today and then there's the response to the walkout. Will the leadership comply with any of these demands? Another demand is they want pay equity. Google for a long time has refused to release any numbers about how men are paid versus women. They've come up with many excuses why they won't do this. So these are really basic moves, and I think that once the employees have made the demands, if the company doesn't respond, I think some of the goodwill that we see today will be lost.
Is there something specific about Google and the way it's set up its board that makes it difficult to make changes?
Absolutely, and this is very typical of Silicon Valley companies, where they give the founders complete control. We've seen it at Uber, we've seen it at WeWork, which is a really hot...
Sergey Brin and Larry Page.
So Sergey Brin and Larry Page have complete control. So the board board can't really remove them and they can't do much to discipline them. So the employee pressure becomes really important.
Well, it's an important conversation to have, and as you said, the CEO is really saying that he hears all of this, and he's supporting this walkout today. It's the first step. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to Google I/O. It's a beautiful day, I think warmer than last year. Hope you're all enjoying it. Thank you for joining us. I think we have over 7,000 people here today, as well as many people. We are live streaming this to many locations around the world. So thank you all for joining us today. We have a lot to cover. But before we get started, I had one important business which I wanted to get over with. Towards the end of last year, it came to my attention that we had a major bug in one of our core products. It turns out we got the cheese wrong in our burger emoji. Anyway, we went hard to work. I never knew so many people cared about where the cheese is. We fixed it. The irony of the whole thing is I'm a vegetarian in the first place. So we fixed it, but hopefully we got the cheese right. But as we were working on this came to my attention. I don't even want to tell you the explanation the team gave me as to why the foam is floating above the beer. But we restored the natural laws of physics. So all is well. We can get back to business. We can talk about all the progress since last year's I/O. I'm sure all of you would agree, it's been an extraordinary year on many fronts. I'm sure you've all felt it. We're at an important inflection point in computing, and it's exciting to be driving technology forward. And it's made us even more reflective about our responsibilities. Expectations for technology vary greatly depending on where you are in the world or what opportunities are available to you. For someone like me who grew up without a phone, I can distinctly remember how gaining access to technology can make a difference in your lives. And we see this in the work we do around the world. You see it when someone gets access to a smartphone for the first time. And you can feel it in the huge demand for digital skills we see. That's why we've been so focused on bringing digital skills to communities around the world. So far, we have trained over 25 million people, and we expect that number to rise over 60 million in the next 5 years. It's clear technology can be a positive force, but it's equally clear that we just can't be wide-eyed about the innovations technology creates. There are very real and important questions being raised about the impact of these advances and the role they'll play in our lives.
A news outlet, activist or radio host banned by a social media platform for violating terms of use. Sound familiar? Nowadays, just as one scandal over suspending or banning subsides, another one brews. This time, it's the Latin American news channel Telesur that's been on the receiving end of a Facebook blackout, and not for the first time. Back in January this year, the news outlet temporarily disappeared from Facebook, allegedly due to an internal mistake on the platform. Today, though, things got more serious.
Your page, Telesur English, has been removed for violating our terms of use.
Telesur say they received no further explanation of why exactly their page was removed. They see this incident as no coincidence, but rather a pattern of censorship by social media giants. Now, in case you're wondering, this isn't a case of déjà vu. Just last week, in fact, InfoWars, an alternative and controversial media platform run by Alex Jones, was also banned by YouTube, Apple and Facebook for violating policies and terms of use. Now, what do these have in common? An independent platform criticised for spreading alt-right conspiracy theories, and a left-leaning channel publicly funded by Venezuela, Cuba, Bolivia, Nicaragua and Uruguay, seemingly diametrically opposed views. The answer is both are critical of the American establishment, war lobby, and global regime change. Both have now faced bans during the battle against fake news conducted by Facebook, along with its new partners such as the Digital Forensic Research Lab. Now, this is an offshoot of the Atlantic Council think tank, in turn a member of the Atlantic Treaty Organization, although formerly independent of NATO and Washington, openly sharing both their values and speakers. Fighting fake news is a noble cause. Terms of use are set by platforms individually, violate them and expect a ban. Increasingly, though, the question will be asked, is it violating social media policies or violating mainstream consensus and prevalent narratives that can really land you in hot water?
Daniel Hawkins, well, we have asked Facebook to comment on why they banned the outlet. So far, they've chosen not to respond.
A lot of people now make a living off of YouTube. It's the world's most popular video site by far. It's a subsidiary of Google. Increasingly, though, Google seems to be letting politics dictate who is allowed to make money from their platform. Dave Rubin hosts a very popular show called The Rubin Report. It's online. YouTube hosts it. Recently, though, a whole bunch of Rubin's videos were demonetized. That's the word YouTube uses when they tell you you can't make money from them anymore. Why did that happen? Dave Rubin joins us tonight. Dave, it's good to see you. So explain what exactly happened. This has happened to other people. It sounds ominous. What does it mean and why they decide to do this?
Yeah, well, I think most importantly, you know, the reason I agreed to do this with you tonight, Tucker, is that I am on that platform, the YouTube platform, and I want that platform to work. I want it to be all the things for all of the creators who put their content out there across the board politically, or whether you're doing beauty videos or sports videos or politics videos or anything else. I want it to be treated fairly for everybody and be transparent in what it is. So, you know, the word demon is in demonetized, and I can tell you as someone that's dealing with some of this stuff, that it appears at least that there's some pretty shady stuff going on. You know, look, I don't want to fight Google and YouTube. You know, there's a biblical story of David versus Goliath. I don't want to be Dave versus Google because it probably won't work out as well for me. But my show, we do a talk show based on big ideas, sort of in an old school Larry King-esque style, and I talk to people all over the political map. Many of them are conservative friends of yours, and then I have progressives and lefties, and I talk about religion and science and all of this stuff. And our videos, our back catalog, just lately, I was off the grid, which is where this beard came from for a month, but just lately, our videos, almost our entire back catalog has been demonetized. And I'm talking about videos where we're talking about God and morality, or we're talking about basic stuff about the election, or even today, the video that I posted, one video today, it was with a YouTuber by the name of Phil DeFranco, who's one of the original YouTubers. The guy's got about 6 million subscribers, a really, really interesting guy that I'm sure many of your audience knows. They demonetized that. This is with one of their top creators who's been on there forever. So look, I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes,
we got a
but
statement.
I know that a lot of their creators are upset.
Well, I think that's right. And we got a statement from YouTube, and it contradicts what you just said. They said over 90% of the videos on the Rubin Report are fully monetized. The remaining 10% are not because they contain discussions of adult topics, pornography, ISIS. These are topics which many advertisers find objectionable. What's your response?
Okay, you know, I said I don't want to do a David versus Goliath thing here, but I mean, that's just simply not true. I'm telling you right now, as we went to air, I have an iPhone here, it's a very fancy thing, the video that I posted this morning with Phil DeFranco, I can tell you about videos that I did with many people who are mainstream people who appear even on Fox, like Ben Shapiro and Larry